Hey y'all, good morning. This is Jacqueline from JMT Media. I'm live here in my house on the North Shore of Staten Island. Again, inspiration by the beautiful Lena Montoya, beautiful mural in the background. But today's segment, we've been working hard on trying to keep up, even last night. Things are happening, changing. So we have a couple of guests. The first is my dear friend, Regina. Now I have to sound it out phonetically. Bublava. She's the vice president over at Northfield Bank for Staten Island and in Brooklyn. She's a force to be reckoned with. She's here in the community. And, a lot of small businesses have questions. So today's segment is specifically focused on small businesses, the loan programs, the retention grants that they have. Last night, the New York Times reported and Wall Street Journal that the stimulus package did not go through, but we'll get to that shortly. But first, I want to talk to Regina because before we think about things globally, we also need to think about things on a local level in regards to banking. As a small business owner, it was really important for me to ask a lot of questions. I have less than 5 employees, but we work with companies that have anywhere from 50 to 100 employees, and everyone was kind of asking the same questions about, how does unemployment insurance work for if you're a freelancer, you have a 1099 employee. So we're going to get to that in today's segments. But I really wanted to bring on Regina because she has a plethora of information and knowledge about small businesses when it comes to loans. For me, as a small business, when I first started out, I didn't take a loan. Many people know that about me. We are a 100% cash positive business. But during this time frame of the coronavirus and things that are happening, a lot of small businesses are actually branching off and creating other small businesses. And so I thought it would be great to bring her on to talk about specifically small businesses, what types of loan programs there are, what kind of services they can offer. So, Regina, are you there, my dear?
I am
Oh,
here. Good morning, Jacqueline. Good
good
morning.
morning. Good morning, Regina. So, to everyone that's following us on Facebook Live, because the masses here on Staten Island, they're on Facebook. They are on Instagram. A lot of people have been. There's an uptick on TikTok right now, but most of the small business owners are on Facebook. So, can you let everybody know your name, who you are, what you do?
Sure, of course. So my name is Regina Buvalova. You were very close on that last name, Jack. But and my position is business development for Northfield Bank. I've been with them for over 10 years, but in banking collectively over 20. My role covers that small business sector. So I understand a lot of these questions. I know what folks are going through. And my goal today is just kind of tell some of these folks what the banks have going on, what the banks are thinking behind the scenes, and kind of put their worries at ease just a bit, as much as I can. Um, so I guess I'll just kind of go get into it,
Yeah.
Jack. All right. I think the first thing that I want to kind of touch on is the chaos. I mean, everybody's nervous. Everybody's really trying to work from home and really kind of getting used to the new normal, if you
Yeah.
will. Me myself, as you can see, I'm in my home, but I do have the tools to work remotely, and that's what people need to understand. It's important to speak to your bankers. People own rental properties, they've got loans out, and they're panicking. The bank's doors are closed, but they are taking appointments. Um, and the goal here is really just to limit the risk, right? The goal is to kind of flatten the curve, as the mayor and the governor and everyone's been saying. And we're trying to be a part of that. So we're trying to limit the amount of employees in the branches and still have the full length of services. So everything that you need to get done at the banking side, if you can't get it done remotely, call your local bank. Find
Yeah.
happening. How do you get in the door? Can you make those deposits at the ATM? Everything should be available to you. For those that are making a deposit remotely, you can use your mobile deposit. You can use your remote deposit scanner. You could go to the ATMs. Some of the folks that are worried about loans that they have on the books and they're not getting those revenues because maybe your tenants can't pay those rents, call your banker.
Yeah.
Everybody understands the bank does not want you to default on the loan. Call your bank, find out what the opportunities are. Can they postpone the payment? Can they make an interest only payment? As a banker, we want to know that you're you know what's going on, you're working on it, and you're not looking to just walk away from the loan, you know. Um, and as far as some folks that are really in diehard of cash flow, the banks are offering programs aside from the government grants and some of the other things that the next guest will talk about. And I know, Jack, you've been very vocal about it. You've posted links, and some of my friends, colleagues, and customers even have taken advantage of that. They've applied for the grants, especially for the ones that are 5 employees and under. But the banks do have lines of credit and loans available to help your business, to set up a little bit of a cash flow, help with payroll needs. And those are typically very, very simple, small, you know, probably under 200,000 and under. And they can help you with the day to day. Typically,
Sure.
credit scored. The rates are not as low as you'd like, but again, it's a quick turnaround. It's a little bit of a fix, you know, just to kind of get us through this, because nobody really knows how long this will last. Hopefully, you know, my predictions is soon will be far. This will be far behind us, but you know, that's me just kind of being an optimist.
Yeah.
But there are programs. There's definitely small business lines of credits. A lot of banks are offering. I know at Northfield we're doing 250,000 and under. Very quick, you know, just a last tax return on the business side, last tax return on the personal side, and the turnaround on that is pretty quick. Again, you know, it might not be exactly what you need, but it's a little bit of a cushion. It's a little bit of something to help you along the way, whether it be for payroll expenses or whether it's just to cash flow you through this time.
Let me ask you a question,
Yeah,
because a lot of folks that are small businesses, especially on Staten Island, most small business owners that have never applied for a loan, what's the process? Like, what's the turnaround time? How long do you need to repay your first payments? Like those kinds of things. Can you walk us through the process of that?
sure, sure. So there's two different types of loan. There's a line of credit, which is something very similar to a credit card. Okay. I mean, the rate is much lower naturally, but that works on a revolving term. So
Okay.
it's somebody who's really looking for that day-to-day expense, and then when the money comes back, you repay it. Those structures are typically interest only. You could pay, you know, towards the principal, and they're a monthly payment cycle. Then there is a traditional term loan, which could be from 1 year to 5 years to 7 years. Um, and that works like a traditional mortgage would. Okay. It's principal and interest payments, set term, set
Okay.
payment. A lot of banks offer no prepayment penalty. Northfield is one of them. Um, and the turnaround is pretty quick. A lot of these things are really credit scored. So if you're in a good credit position, then the turnaround could be as quick as 24 to 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yep, yep, yep. Again, because we're working with this new normal and everybody's electronic, a lot of these things can be handled remotely. So if you're speaking to your banker, if you're calling me directly, a lot of these things I'm
Mm.
noticing people are comfortable. They're working remotely. They're opening
Yeah.
accounts online. We have not stopped business. I'm still doing lines of credit and loans via my home office. Um, you know, people understand that they need to kind of stay home right now, and they're reaching out to their local banker to find out what the solutions are, and we have them.
Got it, got it.
Mm.
And, I gotta give a plug. There's a lot of amazing financial institutions here on Staten Island. But one of the things that we at JMT Media love are financial institutions that give back to the community. And so we love that Northfield Bank, you guys have been a continuous supporter of organizations like On Your Mark, Rabs Bowling,
Absolutely.
Eden, Chazzy. So I just want to put it out there that I think as a small business owner, you have to align your mission and your vision of what your business is with the bank that you're going to be banking with. So I just want to give a special thank you because I notice those things and I appreciate those things.
Hey, listen, we live here, we work here. You know, we've been in Staten Island since 1887, so we really take pride in our name. So, you know, the goal for me to be a guest here, and thank you for having me, of course, is to really tell the local community that we are here for you.
Yeah.
This is not the time, everybody's panicking, and rightfully so, but this is not the time to panic about your financial needs. You
Yeah.
know, the bank is secure, we've got insurance on these things, you know. We're barely making money on it. But right now, because the rates are dropping, right now is a good time to take a look at that loan. Maybe it is a good time to refinance your existing debt. So definitely reach out. I mean, we've got branches throughout Staten Island, Brooklyn, and New Jersey. You can look us up at enorthfield.com. My information is on there as well. Feel free to, even if I'm not your banker, feel free to reach out with any questions you may possibly have. The goal is to kind of get through this together,
Yeah.
um, put some folks at ease, because we will recover, we will be back. And the last thing your banker wants to see is you default because panicked.
Exactly. Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much, Regina, for joining us this morning. We'll make sure that we put all of her contact information in the post blog after this so people can contact you. We'll add more workload to you working from home. Thank you again, Regina. I appreciate it. I know you have a busy day today. So thank
I
you again.
thank you all. Have a good one.
Awesome, y'all. So, as you heard from Regina, a few notes that I jotted down are to speak to your banker. It doesn't necessarily have to be Northfield Bank. It just speak to your banker about making whether it's interest payments or something so you're not in default. There's two different loans that most banks have, and she mentioned them: the line of credit, which is kind of like a credit card, which is fantastic, and then also a term loan, whether it's 1 year, 5 years, or 7 years. And most of these loans can be reviewed and approved within a 24 to 48-hour period. She talked about having a cushion. So, speaking of cushion, we're going to throw up this slide because we have our team has been diligently keeping up with all of the relief options. And so I really wanted to get into the nitty gritty of for small business options along with freelancers, because even when I started out, I had several freelancers that we worked with, and then we converted them into full-time employees. But I've heard a lot of small businesses that have said, hey, Jack, I've laid off 100 employees and they were freelancers because it was based off of an event business. So I wanted to put these couple of relief options up for folks to see. The first was the economic injury disaster loan. So that's actually distributed by the Small Business Administration. And we actually have a branch and location here on Staten Island. It's located at the community of Staten Island, and the organization is called Small Business Development Center of Staten Island. It's a really long name, but you'll see it on our tags, SBDC. You can apply up to $2 million with low interest rates. But don't worry, there's still some other programs for smaller businesses like myself. The first is the Employee Retention Grant. So when it first was announced last week, everyone was super excited. They're like, yes, this is great. You're going to give me $27,000. You click the link. And of course, once you click the link, it's like, here's a list of things that you have to submit. So, a couple of things that you have to show, of course, are your financial statements for the last 2 months. You have to prove to the government, because there ain't nothing free, honey. You have to prove to the government that for the past 2 months that you've had a 25% decrease in sales. And so most businesses like myself, we can't prove that or show that until early May, if not the end of April. Other businesses can immediately start applying. So this is for, I would say, if you are over the 1 million mark, you're probably safe to apply. But the New York mayor's office made an announcement on Friday, or I believe Saturday, that there were over 466 grant applications that were put in. By the end of today, people are getting money in the bank, which is fantastic because you need to have that cushion to pay for payroll, etc. They are going to continuously look at all the loans there, and are hoping to put money in people's hands, business hands, by the end of this week, this Friday. The second thing, or the third thing that I think is really important, is the coronavirus relief package. The president made an announcement last Wednesday that they were looking at $1.2 trillion. It actually got bumped up to $2 million. And as of last night, well, before we get into the results of that, this package was a stimulus package to help self-employed, freelancers, people that are 1099s, which is a huge part of New York City. But again, the stimulus package was covering all of the US. So as of last night, the voting was actually halted to a screeching no. But that's okay because this morning they're back in session, I'm sorry, and they are going to review the stimulus package to figure it out. Like, honestly, and this is just my personal opinion, I get it. We need the funds, but I would rather you take your time to figure it out. It's that old school saying, like my mom used to say, do it right the first time. And so a lot of this stems from, we got to look back at history. A lot of this stems back from the 2008 market crash. And there were stimulus packages left and right, and it didn't benefit the majority of the American population. So this time around, they're taking their time, doing due diligence to make sure that this stimulus package is taking care of the American people. So I have hope for that. Clearly, this is an epidemic happening across the globe and here in the United States. There's a lot of information that's being put out there. So I would rather you take your time. So, speaking of taking your time and transitioning, I want to actually bring on our second guest. This is Megan Ernst. She is the marketing advisor over at the Small Business Development Center of Staten Island, which is under the umbrella for SBA, which is the Small Business Administration. So Megan, are you there, my dear? All right. Wonderful. Good morning, Megan. Hi, how are you? All right, let's give it a second. Megan, can you hear me? Hold on one second, guess. Let me just check her audio.
Good morning. I'm not sure if this is working right. I don't hear you, Jacqueline.
You don't hear me. Oh no. Okay, so let's put her down back on the docket and let me check what is going on. Hold on one moment. All right, so it's back to me. So we are going to test the audio just one more second, y'all. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and put up the slider again. Jessica, if you don't mind putting up the artwork specifically for the loans and the economic disaster relief. Thank you. Let me just triple check, guys. This is what happens, technology. We have over 1 million students trying to log on to the internet and Wi-Fi this morning because, well, we are doing remote learning, including myself. I have my son's packet already printed from the Children's Harbor Montessori School. And let's see. All right, just give it one more second. We have been hearing of some shortages and outages happening through internet providers because, well, there's like 1 million people trying to get online. So I totally get it. Hold on one second. All right, Megan will be joining us in 2 seconds. She's logging out and logging back in. And there we go. Are you in, Megan?
Good morning. Yes, I am here.
Fantastic. We covered it all. We took care of the world's problems.
Perfect. Murphy's Law. First time this always happens.
I'm so glad you could join us. Well, first off, congratulations on your recent nuptials with your husband. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Exciting stuff, y'all.
Yes.
So I just introduced you to folks to let them know that you are the marketing advisor for the Small Business Development Center here on Staten Island, which is under the umbrella of SBA, which is Small Business Administration.
Yes.
So can you please let everybody know what your name and what your role is over there at SBDC?
Sure. So, of course, good morning, everyone. My name is Megan. Thank you for having us. The SBDC is, we're hosted at CSI, and basically we provide small business support for the startup entrepreneur or the experienced entrepreneur that's been in business for over 20 years. Whichever stage you're at, we are here to help you get those dreams going. We help with start up with writing your business plan, doing target market research, helping you package your loan to get started, which is very important now as businesses kind of have to restart given the current conditions. But we are here for pretty much any aspect of where you are in business. Our services are free of charge. We do not charge for our counseling or our training events because we are under the umbrella of the SBA. As a nonprofit organization, this is what we do. This is what we're here for, especially now during this time. I can tell you, we started going remote, so we are all here. We have a team of 5 advisors, including myself. We have our office manager and our director, Dean Balsamini. We are here to help you guys stay resilient. Our team has actually they're experienced in disaster relief counseling, so this is not new for them. So I hope some of you find some comfort in that if you haven't worked with us before. But it's we've been keeping our updates on our website. I've been fielding all of the requests for people to come in. We've dealt with over 200 business inquiries in the last 4 to 5 days. So if you have sent an email and I have not responded to you yet, please just give me a little time. But we are addressing absolutely everybody. So don't panic. Just reach out to us and we'll help you, walk you through what you have to do.
Sure, sure. So let's get to nitty gritty because you guys offer a ton of services, but let's talk about some of the disaster relief loans that you have for small businesses. I know that y'all went through an extensive training because Richmond County, which is here on Staten Island, just got the
Mm-hmm.
approval. So the
Yeah.
announcement went out, I believe, on Thursday or Wednesday. So can you
Mm-hmm.
talk to folks at home specifically about the disaster relief, the loan program?
Sure. So the SBA is offering an economic injury disaster loan. This is basically working capital for small businesses. There are certain eligibility requirements, as with every application, but this does offer up to $2 million in assistance. This could be for paying fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, other bills that typically can't be paid because of the disaster's impact. Um, we are we are actually working on putting together a webinar to go specifically through all the forms, the complete application. A couple of SBDC centers around the city have started this already, but once this is all ironed out completely, we will have the information for you guys ready. Typically, people are experiencing right now that after 7 o'clock is a great time to go online to work on the application. They are
Oh,
having some experiences with Chrome. So they say use Internet Explorer or Edge, and it's a lot of people are trying to get on. A lot of people are trying to apply. So the non-peak hour is after 7 o'clock. Just a tip for anyone that's getting on there.
that's
Another
good.
important number to have is the 800 number, 1-800-659-2955, and that is the customer service center. We are helping vet these opportunities, and we are going through all the questions as they come in, who's eligible, what um, all the different questions for the different specific situations of different business owners. But that number is important. We use it. We encourage you to use it as well to answer the questions so that you don't waste a lot of time. But as you did mention before, some things to keep if you don't have them ready now, start trying to gather them. Your point of sales reports, your bank statements, your quarterly sales tax filings, last year's tax returns, and any profit loss statements you have. These are all important documents that you will want to have handy for this application with the SBA, or that there's going to be a lot of programs that are coming through. Of course, you have the SBA, we have the city's employee retention grant. There's the Department of Labor Shared Work Program, which is they're calling it like the layoff alternative. And then I know that SBS is going to put out the continuity loan program as well, which is, I believe, if that's no interest or very low interest. So there are different opportunities out there. And we're here to help you figure out which is the best for you.
Figure it out. Yeah, of course. Megan, you mentioned the layoff alternative. What is that? Because I haven't
So
heard of
that is
that one
through the
yet.
New York State Department of Labor. I'll give you a little bit of it is that it's to help keep trained staff and avoid layoffs. It deals with partial unemployment insurance benefits while reducing the hours. It's for
Oh,
full-time,
okay.
part-time, and seasonal employees. It's the Department of Labor's layoff alternative layoff. So
Got it.
we
So
can.
we actually just received a question online
Mhm.
asking us if there's a better way to fill out the forms because it did take 2 hours. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I heard through several friends that live in San Francisco, the
Mhm.
Department of Labor typically receives up to 2,000 requests in any given day. There were over 85,000 requests in a 3-hour period. So this is, clearly impacting, but would you recommend, I mean, some of the tips you're telling us after 7 p.m., which I think is extremely important
Mhm.
to note. And then are there any other tips that you can provide for us for people to fill out forms in a better way?
It depends. I mean, if you're talking about the SBA application specifically, they are accepting it through online applications.
Sure.
So, there are quite a few different forms to fill out. I haven't walked through the entire application myself yet, but we haven't heard much feedback about how long it takes to fill everything out. But that's why it's important to make sure you have all your documents together, have all your numbers together. Um, that will help you know your information and answer it a lot faster. But there are paper forms to fill out for the SBA economic injury loan, but it is available to just fill out directly online. So that could be easier. That could be a little bit faster for you.
Got it. Got it. Got it. And let me ask, and I don't know if this is under your purview with SBA, or we may have to ask Regina, because we are also receiving inquiries of small businesses that are still having to pay rent. I'm confident that because of last week's announcement, that there's going to be an extension of rent for mortgages. I'm confident that this will also apply to small business owners. But have y'all heard anything from SBA regarding that and support for rent for small business owners for their space? Like for myself, I reached out to our landlord and he was totally like, Jacqueline, you guys are fine. Don't worry about it. But not everybody is quick to say that until they see it. So have y'all heard
Right,
anything coming
right.
through the pipe?
I have not heard anything officially. Once we do, we will circulate information. But as of right now, I have not received any notification on that. No.
Okay, perfect. Um, and I have a feeling it'll come through. It's just a matter of time. I feel like, everybody's working on the high level stuff, making sure people have food, making sure people have access to
Yeah.
water, electricity, and then working our way down. So, again, I'm trying to be mindful and respectful that yes, this is a global epidemic, but at the same time, nothing happens overnight.
Hmm.
It takes time to figure this out. So I'm trying to be patient with that as I'm
Absolutely.
trying to encourage a lot of small businesses as well. I get it. Everybody wants relief right now, but what's the word? Tranquilo, tranquilo, like tranquilo. Like we got to wait till it comes down the pipe. Because
Yes.
again, I'd rather it be done correctly the first time than a million times
Absolutely.
over.
And
Um,
you think about when you got started, you didn't build your business overnight. Unfortunately, I'm sure nobody planned on having a halt right now
yeah,
where we are, but it will take time to rebuild. It will take time to reopen. But once you do, use this time right now to kind of think about, where you want to be. Think about where your goals were. Revisit your business plan. Revisit your marketing strategies and take this time to really focus and try and stay positive. There's really not much we can do to change anything right now except to just stay home, keep working on what you need to work on, and just focus on the positives. Really, we're all gonna get out of this together. We're all gonna get out stronger. We're all Staten Islanders. This is what we do. We help each other out when we need to, and here at the SBDC, we are here for all the small businesses. So just stay positive.
wonderful. Well, I don't want to go over time too much, but Megan, thank you so much. We will share all of Megan's information along with Regina's contact information so you can inquire and ask questions. I know when I first started out my company, clearly I ask a lot of questions. So I went through everybody from SIDC, Chamber of Commerce, SBDC. For me as a small business, because I'm always looking at branching out, et cetera, SBDC has been extremely influential in helping us do target research specifically on
Thank you.
in New York State for us because we're at MWBE and researching about Native Americans and MWBE. So I would highly encourage everyone. But again, I just wanted to say thank you, Megan,
Sure,
for
thank
joining
you.
us this morning. And for folks at home this week, Wednesday, we'll be hosting another live feed. We will hopefully have our fantastic, she's like the champion of Staten Island. She's my hashtag social sister. We've been using that term since I met her. Hopefully, Christine Garlisi will be joining us. We're also going to be reaching out to Yesenia Mata from La Comena to talk about the immigrant population that's here on Staten Island, because this is affecting everyone, not just small business owners. So we have a lot of content to present to you, but we don't want to bombard you, because I know that even for me, it's hard to juggle between babies, diapers, doing paperwork for school, making sure that our kids are learning, cooking, cleaning, all that fun stuff. So I'm trying not to inundate. There's plenty of resources that are online. I would encourage you to continue to follow jmtmedia.nyc. We have a full team and staff that are monitoring and managing all the press conferences and deciphering the information in quick bullet points, because there's just a lot of information out there. So anyhow, just want to say thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I look forward to seeing and hearing from y'all through the digital world. Remember, social distancing is all about digital right now. So keep it digital, keep it current, and be present in everything you do. All right. Thanks so much, y'all.